Welcome to the Next Level Facebook Ads Podcast with Phil Graham. We help you master Facebook ads and give you an unfair advantage over your competition. Are you ready? Let's go.
What's up, podcast family? Welcome to the Next Level Facebook Ads Podcast, episode 415. I'm Phil Graham. I am so glad you're here because today I want to talk about how Facebook and Instagram ads could be your secret weapon in a recession or tough economy. You guys, there's so much opportunity right now. You want to make sure you're grabbing as much of it as you can. So my friends, where are we at right now when it comes to the economy? Some people say we're already in a recession. Others say we're definitely headed for one. And others say it's all good. There's no recession. Well, regardless of that, smart advertisers, smart entrepreneurs, and companies need to be prepared for challenging times. But the sad fact is that most advertisers either don't prepare at all or they prepare wrong in a way that potentially could cost them a lot of time and money. You want to set yourself up to try and thrive whether we're in a tough economy or not. And today I'm going to be covering 5 really important things that I recommend. Now, obviously, if I was working with you personally and I knew everything about you, I might have some tweaks or different things that I might recommend for your exact situation. But for a lot of people, this is going to be stuff that I would recommend in this kind of economy. There's a lot of fear out there. There's a lot of uncertainty, and you need to be prepared. And not only that, you need to take advantage of this opportunity. So before we jump into that, if you guys are really wanting to upskill yourselves and get help with your ads, I believe coaching and consulting is the best way to do it, whether you're looking for something like that, or maybe you just want somebody to do it for you and run your ads for you. For either one of those things, feel free, go to my website, philgrahamdigital.com, or you can DM me on Instagram at philgrahamdigital. I would love to connect with you. I truly do care. I want great people to win, and any questions you might have, let me know. So let's dive in and talk about how Facebook and Instagram ads could be your secret weapon in a recession. So first of all, the number one thing that I recommend for so many advertisers, and again, this could be different based off of your personal situation, but for most, I would say that you want to take advantage of this opportunity. There are so many foolish advertisers that when the economy gets tough or when there's a lot of fear out there, they actually cut their ads. They either shut them off or cut way down on their ad spend just purely out of fear. And in many situations, it's very, very foolish. Hopefully, some of your competitors might do this because it's a huge opportunity for you. So what I recommend in challenging times is to actually commit to advertising. Do even more if you can, but try not to cut anything related to advertising. There's a lot of smart people out there that say in a challenging economy, it's even more important to advertise than in a great economy. And I would say it's important to advertise no matter what, but certainly in a challenging economy, absolutely. I believe it's the best way to actually get in front of your ideal audience. And there's so much other noise out there that this could really potentially give you an edge. So in a tough economy, commit to advertising. Commit to doing it, though, with skill. It's not enough to just advertise. Anybody can do that. Just like anybody can play basketball, but that doesn't mean we can all go play in the NBA. The good news is just about anybody can become really skilled at advertising, unlike basketball. So you want to do it, but do it with skill. Have a strategy, and then be consistent, and then use data to make smart decisions. And do not let the fear and the negativity out there cripple you. Let that happen to your competitors if they do that. You know, I actually think that in tough economies and tough times, it's actually, for a lot of companies, it's way more risky not to be advertising than it is to advertise. So what I would recommend is not only commit to your advertising and doing it skillfully, but I would also focus on just a couple platforms and try and just dominate them with your ads. Now, we run ads not only on Facebook and Instagram, but also on TikTok and Pinterest and X and LinkedIn and Snapchat and Google and YouTube and everywhere else practically. And so I like all those platforms. But without a doubt, I still believe by far that Facebook and Instagram are the best platforms for most advertisers by far. And so I would recommend you start there and really commit to really focusing on Facebook and Instagram and dominating them with your ads. And it doesn't even have to mean you're spending a lot of money to do it. Now, if you have a ton of ad money to spend, then you can branch out to other platforms. But commit to your ads and commit to Facebook and Instagram, even in challenging times. Number two, what I recommend in recessions or tough economies and just times of fear is to be careful with your spending, and certainly some spending you might want to cut. But here's my rule when it comes to times like this, because we've come in and out of these times before. My philosophy is this, and it may not work for everybody, but it definitely works for me. I believe that in tough times, you should cut spending, but only certain spending. I would not cut things that get you in front of your customers or potential customers. I would also not cut things that make you more skilled, whether it's coaching and consulting or some other kind of education, things that upskill you, because becoming more valuable and upskilling yourself is something really important anytime, but it's even more important in tough times. So my rule for this kind of stuff is, hey, if I'm going to cut spending, I ask myself, is this going to prevent me from getting in front of potential customers and clients? Because if you're cutting ads, how are you going to sell more? If you're cutting education, if you're cutting making yourself better at ads, how are you going to do better? I only cut things that don't matter to the business. So if you think about what you spend money on, there's probably a lot of things you could cut and you could still get in front of your customers and clients and potential customers with ads without having to cut your ads. You could still take that course or do the consulting call or, take a college course, whatever it is you're wanting to learn. You could still do that and upskill yourself. Those are so important. But maybe there's some subscriptions or crap that you do that you can cut that'll help you save some money. If you can cut stuff that doesn't affect you getting in front of your audience and it also doesn't affect you upskilling, then look to maybe cut that stuff. But don't cut the stuff that's even more important during the tough times. Don't cut your arm off, because some people, their businesses will never be the same if they do that. Number three, I'm going to have a future episode on this, but I really highly recommend do not run subpar, low effort, low quality AI ads. You've got to have skill to go with it. You know what? ChatGPT even agrees with me. I'll talk about that on another episode. And don't get me wrong, I love AI. I use it all the time for so many things. I'm a huge advocate of AI. I have been ever since it came out. And this is somebody who is very bullish and a fan of AI, telling you that I love competing against AI ads where people just generate copy from an AI provider like ChatGPT or any of the others and just pop it in. I love competing against that. It really is low effort and many times low quality. I look at AI like an amazing chef's knife. You could give that knife to somebody that doesn't really know how to cook, and they can cut some things up and, hopefully they don't cut their finger off. That's about it. But if you give that same amazing chef's knife to a 5-star Michelin chef, they can create an unforgettable meal out of it. The difference is the skill of the chef with the tool combined. So when you have your skill with AI, that's unbeatable. But most people don't have that skill and they just lean on AI and they end up with a bunch of crap that doesn't work very well. And many times it costs them a lot of time and money. So please don't let that be you, because that could really hurt you in any economy, but certainly in a recession or tough economy, especially. Number 4, I highly recommend that you guys leverage strategic video ads, because many times that can be the best bang for the buck. Now, that's not always the case. There are definitely exceptions. But if I have to generalize, which I have to do on this podcast, I would say more often than not, I'm going to recommend video ads. There's multiple retargeting opportunities from video ads. They can produce a much quicker know, like, and trust factor and help give you hopefully more credibility. So there's a lot of great ways to do this that can really make a big difference. Also, this is important. It's not just about doing video ads. That goes back to playing basketball. Anybody can create a video ad, anybody can play basketball. That doesn't mean you're great at it. So, you want to build that skill as well. Whether you need help with that, if so, let me know. Otherwise, maybe you're already good at it, but make sure that you build that skill of creating great video ads. And there's lots of different types of video ads. There's user-generated content, there's differentiation, there's us versus them. There's like hundreds of different types of video ads you can do, and you want to be really good at it. But I would absolutely leverage strategic video ads, especially during tough times, tough economies, because I do think for a lot of you, it's going to be the best bang for your advertising dollar. And also, I've said this before in previous episodes, but you got to let it run long enough to know whether it worked or not. Sometimes people, I think, shut off what could be amazing ads because they're like looking at it. It's been 2 days and it hasn't done anything, which is insane. So you've got to have the right strategy around how long to let things run and how to use data to evaluate and things like that. They all come together. And then number 5, our last tip for this, and not least, but very important, is I really want you guys to focus on trying to tune out all the negativity and all the noise. Now, there's always that stuff out there in good times and bad, and even in great times. You know why? Because people are kind of crazy, for one thing. And secondly, these social media platforms, their whole job is to dominate your attention and hold you hostage, essentially. They want you on that platform every day, all day, 24/7. If they had their way. And so they're going to try and do everything they can to get your attention and keep you there. There's a lot of negativity and just a lot of pure noise, whether it's, business scams, AI so-called experts who really don't know what the heck they're doing, or political crap. It's everywhere. On any topic, there's a bunch of crap out there. And so you got to be careful because some people really get sucked into that void and spend so much time on that crap, and it really hurts their business or it hurts their mindset, or both. Look, if you like that stuff, you like engaging in that, there's no problem. I'm not judging anything. There's nothing wrong with that if you enjoy it. But if it hurts your business, that might be an issue. Or if you don't like that, then don't get sucked into that. Focus on how you can grow your business, and also be very careful of the negativity and fear out there. There's a lot of fear mongers out there that will try and scare you into doing things. And that's not good. You got to look at everything objectively, and you got to focus on what can you do? What can you control versus things you can't? And I see a lot of people get tripped up with all this noise, and so many people just waste their time doing things that don't make a difference. And that's a huge disadvantage. It's like being in a basketball game with one arm tied behind your back. Good luck. You would need it. So be careful. Tune out that noise. So to kind of summarize and put all this together, I really recommend you guys commit to advertising and doing it skillfully, doing it consistently, do it with a strategy, use data to make smart decisions, not just your emotions, and tune out the noise. And don't forget to really try and leverage video ads to your advantage. So I hope that's helpful, you guys. There's so much opportunity. Make sure you guys grab as much of it as you can. And as always, just a reminder, it's always important to point out that every business is unique. Results can vary. There's no guaranteed outcomes. So always keep that in mind. Episode 415 is in the books. Thank you guys so much for being here. We've got another great one coming next week. Until then, if you want to get in touch, philgrahamdigital.com is the website, or you can DM me on Instagram at philgrahamdigital. And thank you so much for being here. We'll talk to you next week. Peace out.
Thanks for listening to the Next Level Facebook Ads podcast. Please remember to subscribe and share this with all your friends. For show notes, more tips, and to learn more about Phil, please visit philgrahamdigital.com/podcast.